Well, okay, so for those of you on my channel,
Mm-hmm.
this is Harmony,
Hi,
Harmony
guys.
Healings,
Harmony.
Harmony Healings. And it has just been like, it's been so fun, like just getting to know each other over the last month or two. I don't know how long it's been now,
Feels like a
but
lifetime, but
I
it's
know it
only
feels
been a little
like,
short time.
I'm like, how long have we known each other? Because it feels like way longer. And yeah, just sort of like supporting each other, honestly, and kind of just being on this journey together. And our last conversation that that everybody can watch on Harmony's channel. And if you're on her channel right now, like check out our last conversation because we were talking about boundaries and just like energy work and like our own personal practices. And then that kind of led into a conversation about sexual energy.
Always in there.
Always,
Definitely.
yeah. And so we felt like, let's do a whole other video, right? For
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
And yeah. And
Yeah, for
if
you guys who don't know who Katie is, you want to like talk a little bit about yourself so my viewers know who you are?
um yes, who am I? I'm currently right now living in Sedona with my family. I've got two little ones right now that are just like kind of my whole world right now. But I've been on this journey of sort of like the priestess archetype, the mother are like coming into motherhood and doing this all online and having my own practice. But right now I'm kind of transitioning more into just doing like artwork and channeling in new ways, and not directly like, here's a transmission from your higher guides. I think that's all awesome, but I'm just feeling a little more guided into a different direction right now. And that's more of just like tapping into expression. And that's what I really like about talking with you, Harmony, is that like I feel like there's just this like raw expression that wants to come from us coming together and talking.
Yes.
And like I want everybody to feel like they're like taking some like good information or like tools, and like yes, that stuff is amazing, but I feel like there's just such power in like hearing like, how are you guys navigating whatever,
Yeah.
and bringing that into like a conversation. And so that's where like so today we're going to talk about sex and we're going to talk about sexual energy, but like that is not my expertise. It's just
Guys,
something that right, I've just been so curious about my own awakening and journey like through that energy, that it's like I've given it attention and like sometimes not, and so sometimes more than others. But it's just good to, I mean, we all have this, right? Like
yeah.
it's just, so like let's talk about it.
Right, yeah, man. Okay, so there's so many things that I think we could talk about on that thing. And I know we were talking about like doing all this and being moms at the same time,
Yeah.
spiritual journey and like sacred sexuality, and then also having like all of the things to juggle. It's not like we could just like dive straight in and be like, this is my path. It's like we have like a million paths, you know?
Yeah, and they're all like layered on top of each other all the time. So
Exactly.
it's just, yeah, it's a lot of presence. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Where you want to start with like talking about like the jade egg stuff, like the
Yeah.
jade egg practice, because I use a rose quartz egg, and so that's why.
Okay.
Yeah, I find that
I
more
have a rose
gentle.
quartz egg.
You do?
Yeah, I
Okay.
do. I have one, and I have a jade egg and a rose quartz egg.
I do too.
Um,
I have both.
okay, cool. Yes, yes. Yeah, I right now my practice is literally just like when I'm sleeping or like when I'm in bed
Oh, that's a
with
good
my
idea.
egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to the point yet just to be like, I'm not like up and about and like living life with my jade egg in. I'm just not
Yeah.
there yet.
Have you seen that meme to where they're like in a grocery store and it like rolled out on the floor? I'm like, oh my God, I just do this at home.
Yeah, like I'm not in that like or who is it? I'm blanking on her name, but Kim Anami, who's like lifting weights with like her Kegels. Like yeah, she's like, yeah, right. She's like doing like vagina, like heavy lifting with things. And it's just like, that's not where things are at.
A
It's
vagina
just like,
weightlifter.
yeah, not, no, but yeah, just sort of like really getting back into, into that space for me, especially after having kids, because it feels like a totally new portal to me. Like it's a new, it's just new. Yeah. So that is definitely, that's something not happening all the time, but like maybe once a week, maybe like once every 2 weeks, there's like, okay, let's like spend some time with the jade egg. And then, yeah. And then just like, honestly, like trying to be more like consistent in showing up for, like an intimate relationship in my marriage, and just like really do it, like really like putting my mind like, okay, this is something that this is so not sexy. This is like not sexy, but it's just really honest. Like
Real talk
okay,
though.
yeah, like I just like, I need to get myself into this space that like it is a love making like evening, and I need to like, for me, I need to put myself there like many hours before I actually like am with him. You know what I mean? Like I that's for me where I'm at right now. And so I try to like put myself there, get excited about like being with him. And when I do that, and when the intention is there, like then things like start flowing, and life is just, I feel more receptive to life, to manifesting, to creating, to all things. But that's kind of like when it comes to my sexual energy, those are the two things right now that it's like, those are where I'm focused. And your story is a little bit different. You're having like a lot of Kundalini energy right now,
Yeah.
and some of that going on.
And yours, like, well, I wanted to say something about what you were saying of like having to get yourself ready. I think that's really important, because I don't think a lot of women realize how it takes you a while to get ready to really open up and to have these, because I've been having like cosmic orgasmic sexual experiences with my lover, you know, like my husband. We've been together 18 years. And finally, it's like, well, not finally, but it's to this point to where it's like otherworldly. But it is because I warm up like that. And it's like, you know, that you have to slowly open up. And I think a lot of times in like, I don't know, just a lot of times, even in my own sexual stuff, like I never took enough time to warm myself up. I felt like rushed. Like we always feel like we have to perform or something.
I hate that.
I know.
I can't with that energy. I hate that rushed, like, oh no. So I'm totally like, when I'm getting dinner ready, like at 3 o'clock, so we eat at like 4. We like, we're just like, whatever. But like, so like in the afternoon when I'm sort of like doing other things, putting myself there, and I'm like breathing down into my womb, and I'm like getting into my body, and I'm just doing these things where it's just like, okay, I'm getting really present with myself. Is there anything I need to like, do I need to love myself more in any areas before I'm like in that intimate, you know, moment? And so yeah, like it's just, I'm being a lot easier on myself, and that's taken like a discipline to show up. Like, you know, it's not all of Ben's responsibility to do like all of that. And that's, so anyway, that's just, it's important.
I think so too, because I mean, to be able to open yourself up, we have to open, I mean, our wombs and our hearts have to be open. Sorry, I'm like getting over being sick. Okay. But anyways, our hearts and our wombs have to be open. And I feel like that emotional vulnerability, like we have to, like if we're a mom and we're like doing our daily life stuff, we have to get out of our heads and into our hearts and into our wombs to be able to experience like really amazing orgasmic energy and like a deep connection with our partners. And I just think it's really important. And I think that has been a catalyst for me in my own sexual relationship of having the most beautiful experiences ever. It's like taking that time to open my heart, open myself, you know? And I don't know how, I was going to say how deep we can go here, but you know, no pun intended on that. But it's like, I don't know how deep we want to go in to all of the talk, but it's really deepened so many experiences by taking that time for myself. And that's what happens. My egg practice is so like random. It's like, I'll be like, oh my gosh, totally going to do this for like ever. And then I'll do it for 3 days, do it for a month, you know? But I'm telling you, even one day of using my egg and bringing the awareness into my womb space, I feel like I can connect to myself, my power, my love, everything so much more. And I'm telling you, that changes everything. Just like one practice for me, like one day of like an hour, like I'll put it in and I'll just, you know, do my thing. It's kind of like a walking meditation as I'm cleaning up my house or doing my normal chores or working or writing or whatever. And that changes sex for like the whole week, just because I put that much awareness down there, you know, and other things, you know, like it does tons of things. Like I'm not expert on jet eggs or eggs at all, like yoni eggs at all. I'm not an expert, but I just know what I've experienced, and it just makes you, I don't know. I feel like sex is like this thing. It's like, this is sex, you know, over here, and you just, you know, you do it. And then there is like conscious sex. It is two completely different things. It's like, yeah, regular sex feels good. And then like conscious sex is like on a whole nother level. This is like soul opening type of stuff. And I think that the yoni egg practice is like one of the ways to get you really conscious, because a lot of women hold emotions, trapped emotions, traumas, and all this stuff in their womb space. And I just think it's so important to, the more you're aware, I mean, I think I'm going on a tangent here, but I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
But like the more you're aware of like the blocks you have and the trapped emotions you have and all this stuff, if you bring your consciousness to it, that's where you're able to heal it with complete presence. And so by taking your awareness into your womb space, into your yoni, all of this stuff, you can see where you're holding tension or where you're holding something, or you might even experience like a whole mental breakdown, you know, like over something that you're like, oh my God, I didn't even realize that was storing.
Well, like the release, right? Like that I've had, and that's a little bit of why, so I did a video with Jillian Anderson on Jade Egg. So if you guys are like, I'd have never done this, you can watch what Jillian has to say about that. And there's so many other things, but I had her on because I was like, with my Jade Egg, I was like, it really, like, it made me tense. It didn't, like, I didn't have this, like, I want to do it. So we talked about it, and it's true. And she brought this up where there's these release points, you know, and that's what the Jade Egg can really sort of help with, is like, I've noticed when I've put my egg in, worked with it a little bit, you know, there's some time, not all the time, but like there have been times where it's just like, okay, I need to like cry. I need to release this, because that egg has like massaged that area, right? Just like our shoulders or anywhere else where it's like, okay, I need to just like release some tension here. And then there's like also a really nice emotional release that can happen too. And a lot of the time I'm not even super conscious about like, well, why was that there? Why was that tension there in the first place? And I think we can get a little in our head about it. And this is just me, but like, I'm kind of at a place now where I'm like, I don't need all the information. Like I've done enough of my healing journey. Like I know who I am. I'm feeling really solid in myself. And like, if I just need to have that like really good, like belly cry almost, that like, you know, where it's coming from, that, you know, something being released and cleared, and just allowing that emotional release to happen is like so helpful for my sex life. Just like it's been huge.
I think it's amazing. It just goes deeper and deeper. And I think the same thing is like, you don't have to dig into the stuff. Cause like, I just wanted to touch on this real quick. Cause like, you're talking about like, you know, you don't have to you have to dig into the wound. If you have like a gash on your leg, you're not going to stick your hands in there and dig into this wound. You don't have to dig into it. Just kind of be like, I'm aware. Now I know how to heal it. It's like, I'm letting it go.
Yeah.
Cry is how to let it go. Maybe that's a healing balm, you know? But I find like I'll have a lot of releases like with my husband, like while we're, you know, making love. And like, I've never had those kind of releases before, but they'll be like heart releases to where it's, I've only cried a couple times. Like I'm kind of getting really vulnerable here, but like I've cried a couple times but lately, I don't know, it's like this deeper connection. And, you know, the egg practice has been a part of helping me go in. And then a lot of like womb stuff that I've been working with, and a lot of my womb practices and a lot of my healing practice has been tapping into my womb space. And that has helped me. And your womb and your yoni is connected to your heart. Like there is no doubt about it, because I'm serious. I'll be fine. Like we'll be making love, and then it'll be like a grieving cry, like a grieving cry. And it'll happen just like out of nowhere. It almost comes on like an orgasm, like these cries. And it'll just like, I'll cry for like 5 to 10 seconds, like a huge grieving cry, and then it'll stop. And I'm like, holy crap. And I feel like a different person afterwards, you know? It's amazing how much stuff we hold in our bodies. It blows my mind. It just blows my mind, you know?
I know. Well, and I'm glad that you brought that up. And a lot of times I'll feel that like upper heart and throat connection big time too. And obviously we're all like, it's all connected, but I have personally like really felt that like womb and throat, that where it feels like the same thing is happening in both energy centers.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, it's like they're both going through this like experience, like very much in the same way. I'm not, this is probably sounding a little bit confusing, but
I've experienced the same thing. So like, go for it. Like, I totally get
okay.
you.
Yeah. Well, it's, I just think that I don't even know what to say about this. It's just, I've noticed that powerful connection and I think that honestly, a lot of it for me, for sure, it's just like, the more that we come into the truth of who we are, that is so much in our womb, right? There's just so much of who we are is like in our womb. The more that we come into that, and the more that we come into that, like that power of our womb space and like how we can create here, then it's like, how are you going to express it? How is it going to come through you? And that's the throat, right? That's like, how is it going to, how are you going to express it? Right. It doesn't, this is so not even about like, I don't know. Sometimes I think I got really, anytime I heard the word, like, I'm going to create something, I always thought it had to be with like making money or working.
Yeah.
And that, you know what I mean? And this is so much bigger than that. This is just about like a presence of like expression, just like in your day to day, like all the time life kind of expression and kind of presence. And just, so, I don't know, the more that I've, really, I guess we could say healed or cleared, but just really come into balance and like with my womb, it affects everything. And, but especially like just my expression, my presence, which just feels so much here for me. But I know you've had that connection too. So I would love to hear from you what that experience has been like. Cause I have a hard time kind of explaining or like bringing words to it.
I know, because like when you're talking about it, I'm thinking, holy crap, I haven't talked to anybody else who's experienced that. Like I've seen people talk about, I mean, even if you look at a picture of the vocal cords, it looks like a yoni. I mean, it just does, and it's like, I've heard about it, but I've never heard anybody talk about it. And so I've been having a Kundalini awakening for the last like 6 months, it feels like. I mean, I don't know all the logistics. All I know is that that's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm experiencing. And it was like when it first started, I guess I'll tell you where it first started was I was standing in my living room. Okay, by the way, everybody needs to watch this chick's channel. Her name is Jonna Jenton, and you would love her just as much as the one lady that you showed me the other day. But she is so creative, and she was a part of something that clicked in me of like, I want to create the life that I love. Like, I just want to fall in love with my life. And that was the beginning of like, well, I don't really know where the beginning was because I've always been healing like for the last how many ever years. But I was like listening to one of the songs like on her channel one day, and I was like just like swaying in the living room one day, and I was dancing a little bit, and I felt this huge energy come over me. It came from my toes, went all the way up my body, out my head, and I just started crying. And it was like a soulgasm. And it was just like, this is the real me. That was the that moment. And ever since then, I've been having those rushes of energy, and it'll work in my sacral chakra and in my root chakra. But I'm going to fast forward to where it connects to my throat, because, and I don't know if you guys know, but I'm a weaver of magic. I love magic. And so like when I'm doing magic and stuff, sometimes I get too much in my head, but like those moments to where I'm just like dancing with some flowers, and I'm just like using the flower magic. This was the first time I ever experienced this. I'm playing with this magnolia that I had, and I'm like, I'm in a trance, dude. I have like candles lit, my whole background. I'm in like Witch City up in here. It was awesome. And I'm sitting here dancing, and I'm just like swaying to the music, and I'm like running this magnolia flower all over me. And what happens is I feel my Kundalini like come all the way up into my throat. And this sounds so kind of, I don't even know. I'm just going to say it, but it feels like my throat was squirting. Like, and I've never been one of those people who can do that at orgasm, but like, that's what it felt like here and in my yoni at the same time. And I'm just like, what is that? Because it's like, and it does that a lot now. And I can tell that it's opening my throat, like my throat blocks. And it's like those times I'll get that feeling. It's honestly the feeling of the divine feminine rising in me, because that's what it is. Like, the divine feminine is in everyone, man or female. And when it rises, it's this ultimate pleasure feeling. It's just pleasure. Like, the goddess is pleasure. Like, everywhere you walk, everywhere you step, it's abundance. It's just pleasurable, like everything. And it really takes, I know I'm kind of going off on a little thing here,
Keep
but
going.
it's like
More.
yeah,
More,
it's like, well, you know, some people are like, sex is only for the bedroom. No, you can like live an orgasmic life. And it's not like you're walking around having orgasms like a creeper. It's like, smelling a flower can seriously almost bring your heart to an orgasm. Like, I've been going through these things where it feels like each energy center will have an orgasm. It's like my heart will be like, it feels like it literally just blooms. And I'm like, what is happening? This is so good. You know, and my stomach was doing that. And then my throat's doing that. And it's been kind of at my throat for a while. And as you know, like, I even have a hard time starting off these videos. So I still have I'm stepping into my leadership right now. So I'm having a hard time, or not a hard time necessarily, but I'm working through a lot of blocks still with my throat chakra. And so that connection, you know, with my womb is really is awakening my throat chakra, and I can see the correlation. And, you know, if somebody were just to like hop on a channel and they're like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, womb awakening, you know, but it's real. It's so real. The energy and the connectedness, or the interconnectedness in the body, and how everything kind of correlates, it blows my mind. And I don't know, just by working with your womb, for the ladies, you know, like, working with your womb space can really open up a way for you to be able to create. Like you were saying, it's like the creative living, to where it's not, you're not doing it for a reason. You're doing it because it feels good. You're doing just whatever it is. Even if you're like praying over your coffee, that feels good. You know, like one day, this is how I knew I was going through like a huge fucking awakening, is because I was cleaning my fridge pleasurably. I'm like, I'm so much pleasure right now cleaning my fridge. And I'm just like, I'm a Virgo, but I don't enjoy cleaning my fridge.
Right.
Like, what is going on?
Totally. Yes. It brings it into, this is, okay. I want to share the vision that I had, and this was years ago. This was years ago. And these are because it ties into what you were just sharing about. And okay, so I'm just going to tell the story. So how do I make this quick?
I'll make it quick. Make it what it is.
So I was in bed with Ben, and we had just made love, and I was just like sitting up on the bed. It was like Magic City up in there. I had rose essences being made in the room. Like, there were just like, it was a very magical moment, and I felt so receptive, and I felt like I felt this relationship to space in a way that I hadn't before. It was a very like quantum moment. And I kind of could almost just see how like space wasn't like, I don't know. It was one of those kind of really trippy, just sort of like looking at my hand and like looking at the room, and everything kind of started to like collapse into, you know, this vision. And and around me was experiencing this like very guided vision of another time in another place where it was like a temple setting, but like orgasms were in the air. They were in the air. Like, it was this orgasmic sort of static everywhere. And what was really like, what I was hearing as I was sort of like seeing this whole scene and feeling how much really pure sexual energy of just like, you know, so here's the best way I know how to put it. It was almost like, you know, the nature around us is constantly in this sexual energy, constantly. It's always kind of that unfolding, and you know, like a plant's like reproductive systems are like on display. You know what I mean? It's like, hello, like I'm here to create. And it was like that, but every person that I could sense in this space was like very embodied in that in the purity of that. And that's what it really felt like. It just felt like, okay, orgasms and our sexual energy, it's such a pure thing. I got to experience this place for just a moment. And I feel like I can tap into it every now and again, but it's just like, there's literally like, can you imagine if we had no programming whatsoever around our sexual energy, around, like, and it was just a glimpse into that. And the word that I was like really hearing was purity. If this is pure, this is purely who you are. And, and to be with that in the world today, it's kind of a lot. Like, it's very triggering for other people, for someone who's so like embodied in their sexual energy and knowing how pure that is within them. That can be like a radical kind of presence. And, but anyway, as you were talking about that orgasmic energy and that pleasure and how it is, it just is. And I don't know. I feel myself and so many of my friends who are like just going more in that direction. And it's so exciting and it's so like freeing. And like, okay, we can all just like relax a little bit around this like conversation. Like, we can kind of just like, like shake it out.
So weird about it. And it's like, everything is pretty much that is reproducing, creating life, everything.
Yeah.
It's our whole lives. I don't understand why it's such a weird subject for some people, like I never understood. I've always been open about that, but like, especially this, because it's all tied in. It's just so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what else around this topic? Like,
I feel like talking about the correlation between all of it and how you can actually manifest in your life by tapping into that pure sexual orgasmic energy. Because when we say like sexual or orgasmic, like we instantly think of what that means to us in the bedroom of how we always learned it. But the thing is like, you take that label away. Take the label away and experience it. If you want to experience what Katie was just talking about, like the purity, that pure, raw energy, you got to take the labels away. You can't think about how you've always thought about it. You have to be open to experiencing it deeper, because that's what it is. And when you realize that everything is a creation, like I'm serious now, since I've been tapped into my womb, if I'm creating something like a project or something, I literally can feel it like being birthed, like almost like metaphorically, but then again, energetically for real, and I can feel that. And so I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you experience the same things while you're
What was the last thing? It cut out a little bit. What was the last thing you just said?
I said, do you experience kind of similar stuff when you're birthing stuff, like new creative projects?
Yeah. But I'm trying to tie it to like, because, okay, so there's like a lot of chatter around like sex magic and like, what is that? And how do you work that? And like, and how do you do it? I don't know. And I think that it's taking, for me, it's like taking that openness and like the like being able to be in that receptive place, just totally receptive.
Yeah.
And taking that state of consciousness and putting it in front of my laptop, in front of a canvas, in front of like, okay, my kids are actually melting down and making me crazy right now. Like what? And just like getting receptive to just like, so there's kind of bringing that state that we can practice that like in the bedroom. We can practice being in that complete state of like receptivity. And like that, this is at least this is what's working for me. Getting into that place of totally open. Yeah. And then bringing that openness into whatever. So like, to me, that's how the manifestation sort of like happens for me, because the easiest way for me that I've learned to manifest things really quickly, or for things to just flow.
Yeah.
For me, it's like I have to get really open and really receptive to whatever wants to flow through me. So if it's writing, or honestly, if it's even just like responding to emails and just wanting to do that in like, I don't know, just like very direct, very like quick way. It's like opening myself up to that receptivity and then just allowing my body, you know, the doingness to happen. But it's like my consciousness and my awareness is seated in that, like, okay, just stay really open, just stay really, really open, stay really receptive to life. And so that's where I think the like sort of the walls can come down a little bit of thinking that like the sex magic and manifesting, it's like it's only happening at like the peak of orgasm. And it's just like it's like just stretch that openness that you were allowing yourself to be in, and just like take it into breakfast, take it into, you know, whatever you have going on, driving to do your errands. And so that's what I'm like, that's what I'm taking, you know, I'm taking that and I'm trying to use that the best that I can with as much presence as I can. You know, like
struggle sometimes,
right? Like I mean, so it's not, that sounds very ideal. And it is like, that is ideal. I do want to like work my way there, but yeah, the receptivity, and the opening that as women, that just happens, right? And love me, like you feel your body open up in this like, right? And so that openness and being able to be that, like, and that's vulnerable. That's like a powerful, vulnerable woman to be that, like, open, like just in life. But that's where like the magic and the manifestation can sort of like can flow.
I love the way you're putting this, because it's making me look at it in a different way, because I think I would word it differently for myself, but you're making it, yes, like that is so, yes. You're making me think like, be a rose, like have your boundaries so you can be open and bloom, you know? And like, I think that's what it is like making sure, I know we talked about boundaries last time, but like making sure you set boundaries so you can be open. I think that's this is like a perfect video to be like right after that. So
yes, I agree, because the boundaries are everything.
Exactly.
They're everything.
You can be open.
You can't be there without the boundaries and without like the clarity of like what, it's
exactly
so important.
It is so freaking powerful. And I think that's awesome how you say take it out, because that gives a good visual. And by the way, for anybody who's watching this, like if you're like, oh, I can't worry about that crap, I have life to worry about. Yeah, like we both have kids, a teen and a little one and a husband and a whole life to run and a business. And it's like, we can do this shit and make our lives magical, so you can you. Like you just can't.
That's why I wanted to talk about this with you, because it is like, it's kind of, I used to give myself all of the excuses all day long on why, like, I can't use my yoni egg, I can't, you know, like, and I would roll my eyes at any of those ideas. And then once I just like, again, it's the same softening and the same opening that I'm talking about, but it's like, then life is just like, things come your way when, you know, like the support can come in when you're open to it. And, so like life is crazy over here. Life is nuts. Like Ben and I working full time without like childcare right now is crazy. You know, like it's, I don't know how we're going to look back at this and just be like, what, you know, so it's,
you guys are awesome.
It's crazy. And like, but I think that it needs to be this way right now so that so whatever, that's a whole other thing, but it's just like, it's just like this is always available. Like you don't even really need a partner to get into that, like to really get into your body, into that openness that we are sort of talking about, which I think is really like the juiciness that everybody like really wants to connect to anyway, like having our lover and like our partner there, like as that like sacred mirror and everything, that's beautiful. But I feel like what we're talking about is even just so much bigger than that.
It is. It does feel bigger. And it feels so, it's amazing. I feel like I could go on a million different things with this one, because you just made me think of so many things. It's like when you open up and you're softening and you're living your life that way, that's when your life is busy and crazy, that's the best time to do this. This is when you need it the most.
It is.
Because it keeps you so balanced and it keeps you so grounded. Like no matter what the frick is going on around you, you're still walking steadily, you know, like, and you're on your path and stuff. And it just makes me think of, you know, when I'm in the most alignment and the most flow and I'm experiencing the most the best sex, all of this stuff, like all of this stuff combined is when I treat every moment as a sacred moment. When I try to live life as a ritual, as I try to live life as like a moving prayer. I saw this like on something one time. It was like, I want to live my life as a moving prayer. And I fucking love that so much because, like you can have sacred moments, while you're cooking dinner. You can have those sacred, open, soft moments while you are reading to your kids. You can have those sacred moments while you're, messing around on a bonfire, drinking a beer. Like you could do it anytime. And it's so beautiful. And I think that that's like all a catalyst to the opening, like I just do, like of being able to look at it all in this. How can I open myself up more? How can I open and soften in every moment? I don't know. And that's when I feel the most aligned is like when I do everything like that. And that's what it just brings that feeling on, that, yeah, pretty much what we're talking about. All of that. It just brings that in every single moment. I just love it.
Yeah. The like the sacredness of life is it's so important. It's really important that we hold on to that the sacredness of life and like living life as a prayer, because there's so much in our lives that are no longer really like the sacredness has sort of been sucked out of it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So so like bringing the sacredness back into sex, into daily life. But I mean, I think that we're all just, we know that we're these like sexual beings, and and then that essence is just so purely a part of who we are. It's just a part of like life with the cat. It's such a big part. That energy is, we all want to be tapped into that. I've never met anybody who doesn't want to be totally sovereignly like tapped in to their sexual energy. And so I think when we can all just sort of like that's okay. Like, and coupled with, making life really sacred. And like you said, it can be like sacred is so, I don't know, it can be just having friends over after dinner, like it's not spirituality looking a certain way. It's just literally the presence that you're bringing to anything.
Exactly.
And
complete consciousness, being conscious.
Yeah.
That's what deepens every moment, I find. Yeah.
I love that. I think it's so important. Yeah.
Nope.
What else?
No, I just think, like I think it was freezing a second ago. But like the bringing the consciousness to every single moment, that's what it does. So like, if you guys are like, okay, like I get what you're saying, but like, how do I do that? Because I know I've been there to where I'm like, well, how do I do it? Like, what do I do? It's like step one. The thing is just being aware, like learning presence. That's what meditation, that's what all the spiritual practices are for, is to teach you how to be present. That's all it's for, is to teach you how to live your life presently. So like if you're grocery shopping, you can be present in that moment and you'll see so much more than just the stuff you're getting and putting in your cart. Like when you treat, it's almost like, I feel like I'm going off subject-ish, but it's, like when you expand your temple out and everywhere you go, it's a sacred temple, no matter what you're doing. That's when you're living this life open. And you're open to more, amazing experiences with everything, like life and sex and everything. It's just when you're open and you're conscious and you're just like a walking temple. It's so beautiful. I fucking love it.
Yeah. Well, it's just interesting because I think once, it's just such a nice place to start with like your sex life, because it's that like, it's like the lower energy center. It's feeling safe. It's feeling worthy. It's, there's so many feelings that like come up with our, that's why sexual energy is such this like brilliant teacher, because like, if you can't just get into the flow of it, then that means that there's something that's like wanting to be seen. Wanting to be seen. And so it's such a perfect like teacher in that way, and like a perfect healer in that way of like, you're going to know exactly like what's off for you. But I think a huge part of this too, when you were asking like, okay, but like, how do I do this? And for me, it's been in the last few months, like really tapping into like really relaxing again.
That is so important.
It's so
Yes.
important.
Because you know how
And
many people are so tight? Like, you can't, that's not going to be
no,
good for no one.
really relaxing. And so this is where I think that the New Age movement has almost started to be a little bit of a disservice in some ways, in my opinion, like, because everybody just wants to do the breathing techniques perfectly, or the yoga practice perfectly, or the whatever perfectly, or their altar space is perfect. It's just
That's
like
not what it's about.
not what it's about. What it's about is like, is that helping you chill out? Like, is your breathing practice really getting you into your body and helping you have an emotional release, have that moment where you can just like hold yourself? And so, that honestly, the whole relaxation piece of it, I kind of forgot about, because I got really in my head about just like what I'm not doing, like being hard on myself for what am I not doing? What am I, where am I lacking in my diet or my wellness practices or in my meditation practice? And just so like, such a disservice to myself not to just allow it to be easy, allow it to just be easy today. And that's kind of the point I got to, was just like, okay, how can we allow this to be easy today? And everything else falls away. And then it's just you and you. And then it's like, okay, now how can we just like relax? And there's so many tools out there to help us do that. But just, for me, I forgot that the whole point was to just relax and open to myself, and, and to like relationships and partnerships and all the good things in life. So, including sex. So, that for me was kind of one of these almost embarrassing, like aha moments of just
Yeah,
like,
really. Duh.
you know what I mean? Where it's just like, oh God, like I forgot this. And I've, just sort of like got too in my head about it. And this is why like womb awakening, or just like getting in touch with our womb, it's just such a teacher and healer, because like nothing hides there. Everything's going to come up once you start exploring that. And I'm just so like deeply grateful for that already built into me, and like how perfect that it's just this like epic, pleasurable experience, cosmically like pleasurable connection and experience. And so like that's I don't know, I feel like I want to say that too. It's just like this is so rewarding. This is so rewarding. Yeah.
My life has completely changed since I've been tapping into my womb space. And like you were saying, like, I think a lot of people, or a lot of the way it seems, is they focus more on the practice rather than the purpose of the practice.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
bringing your mind back to what the hell is that for? Like, I mean, it doesn't matter if you want to spin in a circle and that's what takes you into yourself, spin in a freaking circle. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, so if you guys, like, I just want to clarify, or not clarify, but like just say this again and hit it home. Like, don't worry so hard about practice. I'm talking to everybody else, but like, just soften and do what feels good to you, like, and don't worry so much about getting it perfect. There is no perfect. Like, perfect for you is going to be different for somebody else. But like, since I've been working with my womb awakening, and this kind of, I mean, like I said, I can't really tell where mine started, because it's been kind of like a slow, like, oh my God, I've been doing this the whole time and I just am now realizing it. And so just like the awakening journey, it just keeps deepening and deepening and deepening and unfolding. And so I think this started with me of really connecting to my womb space, though, was probably 2 or 3 years ago, when I was initiated into the rite of the womb of the Moon Aiki. And like, that was so powerful for me. Like, I have a whole thing on my website about that too, if you guys want to read about it, and you can just go to theriteofthewomb.com. But what this is it helps you release all of the trapped emotions and pain and trauma that we hold in our wombs as women. Because, when we are just as women, this is like a dumping ground, like, if you think about it, like, if you're
and
with
it has been for generations.
I know. And so we're healing all that crap, and it's a lot. I feel like this day and age, us stepping up to this, you can see it. Like right now, like, all these people are stepping up into their own empowerment. They're healing so much stuff. And so this helps release that generational stuff. It says, you know, like it goes 7 generations back. And I think it goes further than that. Because like once you heal a generational spot, you are healing all of it, you know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so that's where my womb thing started. And that's where I first like grabbed my womb and I'm just like, or like held my stomach and I'm like, this is powerful. This is in me. Like I used to have such
Yeah.
low self-esteem issues. That was one of my biggest things that I've had. And so that's why I love helping people with low self-esteem and confidence issues, is because after that ceremony of connecting to my womb, I was like holding myself and I'm like, how could I ever think that I was like anything less than beautiful? And it's like, when you tap into that space, it's like, I could, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just so powerful. And it's like, it's not the vain thing. It's not like, you know, like big headed or anything like that. It's more of like this beautiful sovereign love. Like it's just,
Yeah.
it's so amazing. And like, that's where my womb journey, I really feel like it really started to pick up. And by connecting with my womb, that's why I really learned self-love, like really learned how to love myself. And, you know, people talk about self-love practices all the time and I would do those and it's like, nothing was working right, you know, but like when I started tapping into my womb, like it really helped me see who I was. And it really
Mm-hmm.
helped me tap into my power. I tapped into all of this stuff. And like, when you tap into your womb, like, I know I might be going a little bit off of the thing here, but like, it's like you tap into this womb grid, like of all of, you just tap into so much consciousness. You can feel, I don't even know how to describe it in words.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is the portal to, let's just get,
Let's
yeah.
get weird.
Sometimes let's get weird, right? Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, it is the portal to like God. I mean, this is the portal, right? Like we have that built into our physical bodies. And that is, you know, this is where like new life, it comes through that space. And you know, and if there happens to be like men watching this too, this is an energetic, um, like this is an energetic sensation, and this is an embodiment sensation.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have a physical womb to feel what I'm talking about. But it is, you know, truly like I'm so grateful for, you know, this body, because that, you know, having my children, all of this exploring that I've sort of done with my sexual energy has always been those are the things that have brought me closest to what I believe is the you know, our creator, our, you know, and I am that too, you know, at the same time. And so it's like this direct way to just get in touch with like, who am I really, before anybody else can tell me or teach me or, you know, want to influence me. It's the most direct way that I've ever found to just like figure out like more of myself. And I think that that's universal. And when you were saying like how beautiful you felt, and you just were like, oh yeah, you know, just, and it's not in an ego way, because it's like we all are that beautiful.
Yes.
And that's
Exactly.
it's like it puts the pressure off when you tap into that and you feel your own beauty. You only are seeing that beauty in everything and everyone else too. And that's like, then the pressure's off. There's no more there's the competition doesn't exist in that space. It just
Exactly.
doesn't.
And that's what
So
happened was like, I had my hands on my womb, and what I saw right after I had the rite of the womb ceremony done is, I mean, I actually wrote this on my website, but like it was, what happened was that I saw like a bunch of women, all different sizes and shapes, dancing naked in the woods. This was a vision I was drawn into. And they were all different shapes and sizes. I'm talking about mommy pooches. I'm talking about stretch marks. I'm talking about like skinny people who you would think that would be beautiful, like, you know, how mainstream is, like all different types, all different types. And I was like, they're all so, I mean, I was sitting here like heart open in this vision that came to me, and I was just like, they're all so beautiful. And like, it was that moment where I'm like, if they can be beautiful, then I can be beautiful. And that's what really catalyzed that, you know, like for me to
yes.
really accept that.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's, I love that. And it's just like, my motto is like, there is beauty in everything, and it's my job to find it every fucking day. Find
Yeah.
that beauty. And then, oh,
Yeah.
gosh, but yes, the womb space, like, it's amazing. And
It is.
I don't know if you ever felt this on your journey, on your spiritual journey, but like, tapping into the womb space has like helped me really understand God and understand the creator, like you were just saying, in a whole nother way, because I used to kind of feel like I got stuff. And I mean, it's been unfolding, but sometimes like the mystery of the universe would seem so big. It was almost cold and like, I just didn't feel cozy. But when I started tapping into my womb space, I felt so held by the universe, by Mother Creator, by however you want, whatever you want to call it, you know, like, but I felt so held and so like just held. It wasn't like this huge expansive thing anymore in the sense of where I felt like I would get lost. It felt like I was held and protected and my back is watched and I am loved deeply. And this has all been that for me, like opening up to my womb space and like working with that. And it's changed my freaking life. Like it's changed it.
Totally.
It's so amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I think that's like where we should stop.
Okay, cool.
I feel that feels really powerful. Okay, good. Like what else could we even say to like, I don't know. Exactly. Like that. And it's just like the womb here, the womb energy, it weaves into everything. It weaves into sisterhood. It weaves, because I'm seeing, right, like that vision of you in, I had this similar vision, right, when I was kind of saying like, I was in that temple space and there were people there. There were a lot of different types of people there.
Yeah.
But it was just like, but we're all like the same. It just was not even questioned. It's like, we're all beautiful. We're all sovereign. This is all understood. And, you know, it just is. And, like, it just, this womb energy, it bleeds into everything. Like it literally does. Like it just, that's what I want to, it's just like,
it does.
It bleeds into every aspect of life. And so this connection, especially if anybody's watching, well, no, just, I don't know. It's just like, this was the place I started.
Yeah.
You know, and like, where else is there to, I don't know. And I'm still like years later, I'm like, where else is there to even go other than like deeper into that? And like, and you know, into the heart. But again, it's all so connected, and that heart energy, that womb energy really coming together as one. That's just like, that's everything. Everything's connected to that. And life itself just blooms. So, I mean, you want to talk about manifesting, just go there, like connect that heart and womb space. And it's just like, everything opens up. It's so powerful.
It is. Oh my gosh.
Right? It's the best.
Yes, it is. I mean, it just, I mean, it just keeps getting deeper and deeper, and it does touch on everything. And I just, I mean, there's so much. I think we could talk for probably a year on this, because it goes, goes
forever. It does. It goes and goes. And like, you know, we all keep evolving and finding these new gems of like, I don't know, of energy and just like of experiences. And I'm so glad we talked about it. I'm glad. I want this conversation, and like, I want everybody to have that person. So like, you know, like, find your person that you can talk about your sex life with, that you can talk about your yoni with, that you can like really like talk, and there's no judge. You have your person where it's like, you can go there and really talk about this stuff, because it's so important.
It's important because you'll feel crazy if you don't have that person. Sometimes, you know, I think a lot of people go through that, like, am I crazy? No, you're not crazy, you know? Yeah, because we get too in our heads about it. And then when you have a friend that you can like express and like get some of this energy like moving through you, you know, and be seen in it, it's just like, then it's just like, whew, okay, that's not all in my head anymore. It's like, I don't know, not that we want to like, but like that consensual sort of like, especially in like sisterhood, right? To be able to like help each other out in that way. So important. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, it's been so much fun talking to you about this today. Yeah. And thank you all for watching. Whoever's on my channel and whoever's on Katie's channel, hello. Mm-hmm. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I think we're going to get together soon and maybe do this regularly, right? I think so. Yeah. There's so much we can talk about. So like,
Yeah.
Like you're one of my peeps, girl, and I love it.
Yeah, you too. You
Okay,
too.
I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah.